Here's what's in those conversations too. Is like, well, I don't want to redesign it. It's like, well, the website's fine. And then I'll say, but I thought it didn't optimize.
Is it working?
Yeah, so I was like, well, no.
No.
I was like, well, maybe
There's a reason.
It's because the design is like, but the client can't see the code base,
Right.
so they don't know that, you know.
And it can be, and honestly, it can be especially tricky. A lot of like cheap themes these days actually look kind of nice.
They do.
If you're just looking at it from a visual design standpoint, they look good. And you might look at it and think, well, this is a good representation of my business. I like it. It seems well presented, but that doesn't actually mean it works.
Yeah.
In and of itself.
Hey there, guys. It's Nolan and Jason here.
Howdy.
Today's subject is why we cannot use your website.
Short answer: it sucks.
I forgot what I said earlier. We just did this.
I said, well, it doesn't suck completely.
Yeah, it mostly sucks.
We had a false start.
It mostly sucks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it mostly sucks because they're templates, right?
I mean, that's the first thing is I can't tell you the number of times that Nolan's had a potential client on the phone and they tell him, I just bought this site. I paid $10,000 for this. We've heard anything from $1,500 up to $30,000.
500. I get 500.
Yeah, you heard 500.
500. Up to
And they get told, custom design. And then I check the source code, and it's a $60 template off themeforest.com.
Why can't we get them before they're burned up and mad at the whole industry, and us get the $30,000?
Dude, I know this is like my whole career has been like this. I used to way back in the day, over 20 years ago. I did interactive multimedia, and I had some big name clients in telecommunications back in the day, and it was like this common thing that we did a job at a place, an agency I used to work. We did a job for Nortel. Does anybody remember Nortel? They were huge. Yeah. They're gone now. I think they got absorbed by somebody else or whatever.
A big building off the freeway.
Yeah, when we got pulled in for a job at Nortel, and they sat us down. We want all this stuff. It was a big job. We're getting excited, right?
Right.
And they said, our original budget was $400,000, but this other company absconded with $350,000 of that, so we need you to do it for $50K.
Right.
Story of my life.
We don't charge like that anyway. So let's go over this little deal, because I always find these ones interesting. Since clients really don't want to pay for this, so
ever.
So the $30,000 guy was like one time that we heard.
Yeah, that was a miracle.
That was
kind of thing.
Yeah. So you guys just flat out don't want to pay for it, and it's not logical. It doesn't make any sense. It's your entire business
is based on your marketing. Without
on
marketing, you ain't got no business.
Marketing, your website, your Google account, your reviews, your social media. That's all that it is. Buying leads, maybe. And so people won't invest in it and pay for it.
Right.
If they don't have a quality web design that's custom with custom code base that was built, I'm starting to refer to it like as original parts, like OEM parts, as opposed to retrofitting everything. So I'll grab this cheap template off the shelf and I'll slap this review thing on it, and I'll tell these dumb SEO bastards to make it go.
SEO it.
SEO.
SEO is not a verb.
Make it happen. What? You can't use this piece of crap I bought off the shelf? How dare you? That's basically how.
You can't use my Weebly site.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. I love this piece of crap that doesn't show up anywhere. I was like,
my 10-year-old daughter designed this.
Here's what's in those conversations too. It's like, well, I don't want to redesign it. It's like, well, the website's fine. And then I'll say, but I thought it didn't optimize.
Is it working?
Yeah, so it's like, well, no. I was like, well, maybe
there's a reason.
It's because the design is like, but the client can't see the code base.
Right.
So they don't know that,
And it can be, and honestly, it can be especially tricky. A lot of like cheap themes these days actually look kind of nice.
They do.
If you're just looking at it from a visual design standpoint, they look good. And you might look at it and think, well, this is a good representation of my business. I like it. It seems well presented. But that doesn't actually mean it works in and of itself. There's a whole lot more parts that go into it.
Whole lot of rosy.
Yeah.
That's AC/DC, man.
Yes,
except reverse. Rosie didn't look so good, right?
Oh yeah. That was the whole point of this.
A whole lot of Rosie, man. Rosie wasn't good looking, but had a whole lot.
Yep.
So you can just because the website is good looking, it could be ugly on the inside.
Exactly.
It could be ugly on the outside and good on the inside. If it's but that'd be if you had to pick one of the evils, you definitely want the ugly on the outside, good on the inside, because
yeah,
you want,
as sad as that seems.
Yeah. So people get these sites and they say, well, I just use it. By God,
just use the site I got. And
just
it's like,
use it.
It's like
make it happen.
We can make a
And
site
that's your
that
job.
looks a lot like the one you already have if you're really attached to that design.
Yeah.
But you really need to let us make a new one.
Yeah.
Because we integrate so much cool stuff, and you can't just. It's like if you're adding a bathroom to your house, you don't just nail an outhouse to the outside wall.
Yeah.
You want to build it in there in the first place. It's better to.
It'd be better.
Yeah, it's better to build your custom house the way you want than to buy a shack and try to slap the parts on it you want.
So, on that OEM parts or retrofit, literally what happens with like 95% of the websites out there, 98%, is they do go get a basic template from some people, and they may or may not pay for it to get done. If they do pay for it to get done, and they pay $1,000 or $2,500, guys, if you paid anywhere from $0 to $5,000, you got a template site that was personalized for you.
Yeah, they put your logo in, they change the colors.
Yeah. So this real common for someone to pay $2,500. No, I paid $2,500. Well, that's like we spend $6,000 to $8,000.
Yeah, $2,500 is. I know it seems like a lot of money. It's not.
It's nothing for quality work, because it's the people internally. Literally, anytime I check, it'll be around $7,000 on average. On our dead labor, no other expenses can be done.
Right.
And so, in order to do a website like we have, you have to charge somebody $20,000-$30,000, and it'd be a market rate of 20. You can go to any like true agency model in your market and ask them for a custom WordPress design that's going to actually make one custom, though, like wireframe it up and get you to approve it and go through the process.
Yeah, go through the whole process.
It will cost 15 plus minimum, right?
Yeah, I would say 20 plus.
20 plus. And if you had it done custom. So we do these custom sites. They have to be done that way. Then since we happen to be a digital marketing agency that happens to do one of the best at SEO work, then all the code base that ought to be in the code is put in there up front.
Right.
And so things that do with our proprietary review software, things to do with schema coding, is coded into the design as it's built. And normally what happens is somebody gets their cruddy template with poor code base, and they start slopping stuff onto it. Like, hey, I'm going to do this, now I'm going to throw content in here. Would the content operate as well without high-end custom code base and a custom website and a template? No, because they grade all of it, right?
Right.
And so would the review module work as well?
Absolutely not.
It would not. Why? Because they have to have, we put short code in the service pages and the city pages that's built robustly to begin with, so that when somebody does a check-in at a job site, they can pick the services in the cities that they have that are already in there with the short code. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to pick the pages in the first place because they wouldn't have the short code on them.
Right.
And
you just have the reviews, just shoehorned into a footer or on a single review page, and you're not getting the full benefit out of that content, and other review platforms don't even have
they slap it
the
on
geolocation and the other stuff.
Right, because why would you put it if you're retroing it to something that's already there?
Right.
Because then you have to go knock on the webmaster's door, and say, hey, this review company just notified me that I don't have enough content to fully utilize its features, and then they're going to end up losing their people who are selling it, right?
Right.
They're like, well, wait a minute, I want 10 city pages and 20 service pages. Like, Oh, I'm sorry, we don't do that high a level of digital marketing support.
We don't do content marketing.
Yeah,
They'll break it down into all these different types of marketing, and they'll only do one kind.
We do content marketing and SEO, sir, but not that high a level. That you owe us a ton of money.
Yeah.
So, well, we need thousands and thousands of dollars. So since people don't want to pay for it, we eat thousands of dollars up front, make custom decoded websites, integrate all the code base on everything that we do, and then write all the content on it, and so that it's all done properly up front.
Right.
And you guys don't want to pay $20,000 or $30,000 for it. And frankly, when we're talking $20,000 or $30,000, whether people believe us or not, that's for the design.
Yeah, that guy we talked about that paid $30,000 for a design, that did not include content.
That doesn't include content.
That
doesn't include code base. That doesn't include high-end proprietary reputation management software.
And that had no schema.
Yeah.
Like zero.
Right.
It didn't have nothing to do with the GMB or.
And you know what else they did to that guy when he came on there? had this sweet sounding girl talking to him, and then this kind of disgruntled designer on the phone. Oh, hey there, Bob. Do you approve of it? Here's your new wireframe. It looks great, doesn't it? And you're like, yeah, this wireframe looks good. It's like, well, do you approve that? I do. I approve it. And they're like, oh, okay. And Bob calls back and says, I want to move this over there. It's like, oh.
That's a change order because you already approved it.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Bob.
If you could just shell out $5,000 more,
Yeah.
that would be great.
We'll need. It's what happens too.
Yeah, and that is what happened.
That was an Office Space reference, by the way.
Some people out there got that.
A lot of people got that. I'll tell you a really horrible story. I gave an Office Space reference, and I asked the guy that I told it to, who I'm guessing is 27.
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about. Okay.
And he's like, yeah, have you ever heard of the movie Office Space? Because I could tell by his response that he hadn't really.
He didn't know what the hell you're talking about.
He said, yeah, I did watch it once with my dad. I'm thinking, you bastard.
I saw like 20 gray hairs sprout on Nolan's head. When
he'll watch it. I mean, he's going to watch the video.
He's going to know we're
Does the
talking
video
about.
editing. I was like,
hey, video guy.
all right, that's enough. Goodbye. Yes, me and my grandpa watched that.
Back in the olden days, on a black and white TV.
Yeah. Right after we watched Hee Haw.
And Gilligan's Island.
Andy Griffith Show.
Now we're getting into stuff that people don't even know.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, we had that client who had bought that expensive design, and they'd given him. For those of you who don't know what a wireframe is, a wireframe is the design, the layout of the website reduced to gray boxes, and they required him to sign off
every time
on this completely abstract, doesn't look like anything other than some gray squares on a page, and then they held him to that approval.
Jeez. Sorry about that. But yeah, and one would presume they halfway do that so that there's change orders and make more money, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
And I think they.
Hey, Bob.
He had been trying to get this web design completed when he came to us for 3 months.
Yeah, he had finished it right when ours was going to go live.
Right.
And we're like, well, we can make a better one for no charge.
Yeah.
It's like so we'll get to that in a second, but yeah, I mean, I can imagine sitting there and like, Bob called it a change order. He's like, could you drag that line over? I said, well, I could, but
it's
will
hard.
Yeah, it's like, this is what makes people mad about web people too, because you're probably like, dang it, I'm just trying to get, a line added on the side, and you're like, I'm pretty sure that's easy, but I can't tell.
But they won't say that, and they'll tell you it's hard. I'm going to tell you right now, you're working in Photoshop and someone wants to move something over 10 pixels, it's easy.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
But they charge for it.
Yeah.
So what do we do instead of that? We we finally decided to just say, hey, we're basically going to, not charge for production of the website.
Yeah, we provide the
And then we
website
have
up front. That's part of the service.
And then we have a monthly fee. Somebody, at least right now, subject to change, but somebody pays $99 to get it started. They don't owe their first full month until it goes live.
Right.
And then they're month to month. And in that way, somebody can say, hey, okay, I know I have like an unfounded attachment to this website that means nothing to me and absolutely is hurting my business. So,
If you put it that way.
right, so I'm going to let the webmasters make one for essentially no charge and then enter into a month-to-month agreement with them.
Right.
So I have the opportunity to try something that would have cost tens of thousands of dollars to see how it'll operate in search rankings properly once they do their code base and review platform and content and all that.
Yeah, and we do all this to earn your ongoing business through the performance of the site.
Right.
That's the
Right.
whole.
Because
Everything up front, everything on the table.
here's the fact of the matter is that if you don't pay any money at all, you're going to get screwed all the time. So
Right.
you're screwing yourself at some point. Going,
Yeah, well, if you're not paying any money, you're just screwing yourself
I'm
because
paying-
nobody's benefiting.
Well,
Literally nobody.
I had this call with somebody who said, "Well, I'll only pay $300 a month." I said, "Oh," and I've kind of grimaced now when I hear it. I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that." And they're like, "What?" And it's like, "Well, you throw $300 away, so we're actually $300 less expensive than what you're having right now, regardless of what we charge, because they're literally throwing the money away." It's like
Yeah,
you do realize
at $300 a month, you're getting no work done to your site.
glorified hosting.
Glorified hosting fee, and by the way, the actual hosting fee, if it's a really robust hosting solution, is maybe $20 a month.
Maybe.
You know,
That's rich.
Like I said, a really robust one.
Yeah.
And so, especially for like a local business, we're not talking Amazon.com's hosting
Yeah,
fee.
we're
We're talking local business. $20 a month to get you your hosting.
Right.
And so, if you're getting charged $300 a month, you're not paying enough to get any actual work
No
done.
human being labor besides someone saving your job when you call to complain.
Yeah.
Or I'll have someone say, "Oh, I have unlimited changes." It's like, what does that mean? I can call up and complain whenever I randomly decide to, and they might do something and they might not. Like, oh, okay.
What they will
That makes
actually
sense.
do is
Yeah.
fast talk you
Right,
and end up doing little to nothing.
right.
Or maybe do a couple little things really fast to make you feel like you got action on your site.
So, Jason, I've got
That
a
doesn't
question.
actually
I'm
have
a
any
client here. I was like, I've got a website. Like, these guys, they sound pretty good. I'll take half of that, and then just make it work. Why are you so stupid? Just make it work. So.
And we don't take that deal.
It
We
is-
could take that deal and get half the money and do it for 6 months or whatever, but it
Is-
won't work, so we don't do
Is
it.
every market competitive? I mean, everybody could agree that every market's competitive at this point. So how can you compete if you hobble the racehorse that's running the race and have partial stuff done? I mean, we could go into all the topics and everything, but the point is all this minutia gets graded and you need all of it done. And it's not just a design. So that's probably a frustrating thing for you. They view this as the exterior that you see.
Yeah, it's
but
just the
there's-
face.
But there's tons and tons of code base that goes into it,
Yeah.
and
There,
everything
there,
else.
there is a ridiculous amount of infrastructure sitting underneath the pretty face on that website,
Yeah.
if it's done right.
And code, even your URL structuring when it's redone and done properly. I mean, there's just lots of little details that get done.
Right.
So, on the last thing I'm going to talk about on this, so you obviously need to be competitive in the marketplace. If you don't have this, just to repeat it, you're not going to be graded well for your code base and the design. Sloppy code base, slow to load, lacking schema code, things that help them parcel the data that's on the page.
I saw a great quote regarding schema on Twitter today. Schema doesn't tell Google what your information is; it tells Google what your information means. And that's
awesome.
that's perfect.
Yeah.
And that actually helps Google determine what you're trying to show up for.
So like schema ordered list instead of just a inner site link.
Right. Instead of just a list and Google making a guess, you're telling them, this means I perform this service in this area and I'm an authority.
Why
on
does
it.
that matter to these people? Why do they give a crap that we do all this detail
Because
work?
that is one of the major foundations of the ranking algorithm right now, is authoritativeness and trustworthiness.
True.
And that's what tells
I would
Google
make it more
you.
rudimentary and just say,
Okay.
you get a point. You get a point, you get a point, you get a point.
Yeah.
Every time you do something right, you get a better grade. We just talked about black hat, white hat stuff on another podcast, and this is where, when push comes to shove and algorithm changes, this is where you win.
You're doing more stuff
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we happen to have a proprietary or internal program that we utilize, and or something that we utilize specifically for us, I guess you could say right now, and it's integrated through our websites and our operations, and so it helps us with everything from writing and writing that couldn't normally be written well in schema code. It helps us schedule tickets. It helps us drop databases. It helps us name some other stuff. I don't know.
It performs checks every
checks.
like twice a day to make sure your website is up. It checks to make sure your domain name has not expired and sends warnings so your website doesn't go down unexpectedly. And you guys own your own domains. But we actually check to make sure your domain doesn't have an expiration date coming
I
up.
didn't know it did that.
Yeah, we get warnings on that so that we can warn the client.
Because you know why? Because you guys won't pay for your own domain name. Damn it! You won't pay for your own domain name, and it's an honest thing. Seriously, we have hundreds of clients. Somebody's bound to. I'm still like that. So this is something I would do maybe.
Yeah.
I could pay for it for 10 years and forget about it, right?
Yeah.
And so, because I'm a business guy, I'm not a numbers guy. I'm not going to sit there counting beans all
Well, I
day.
mean, some of them, they registered their domain and they didn't know they had the option. They got it
so
for a year.
we had some clients that lost their domains because, I won't mention the registrar, but a very popular registrar conveniently doesn't tell people they're expiring.
Right.
And then they expire and someone basically takes it,
Snipes it.
and the same registrar barters the buyback. Is that legal?
And takes a commission.
Is that legal?
Yes, it is.
Is it? Good God.
Yes, it is.
Everybody knows who I'm talking
Completely
about,
legal.
but I'm not going to mention their name out loud. But they were doing that, and then so I guess they did. I didn't even know we had that.
Yeah.
But the software does like inordinate amounts of things. So all the details that you need to get graded on, from this website to everything else, there's over 200 things that we do checks on, and all of that stuff is checked off by the search engine as well. So the more detailed work we do, the better off you are. And if we don't have that thing integrated in, we really can't manage ongoing operations that well for that website. We can't do macro updates to clients or our proprietary plugins that we've written. All that stuff is just much tougher and cumbersome.
Right.
We wouldn't be able to manage hundreds of clients, much less even 5. Right?
Yeah, without this.
Without this.
It was a struggle before we. And this piece of software he's talking about, we wrote it because there was nothing that could do what we wanted in the industry. So he said, heck with it, and we made it ourselves.
Yeah, we wouldn't have grown as a company without it. And the websites themselves are actually integrated in through this software, which is the last reason I'll tell you that we cannot use your website.
Yeah, because your website isn't integrated with what we do, and trying to shoehorn it in is a massive.
So essentially what you happen, if you can think about it this way, you have a company you're paying to do work for. If your website comes in, there's no infrastructure to help manage your job. You're basically slapping that retrofit on it again. Instead of being an original part that's integrated into a system and coded properly and proceduralized, all of a sudden it's this thing that's separate that doesn't work well.
Right.
And anybody else that doesn't have software like this, that doesn't integrate it like this, would essentially have an extremely cumbersome process that would not be able to perform the type of services that we do without the software included, without it seamlessly working together. Agreed?
Agreed.
Same reason the website needs to be seamlessly done together. Right. Same reason we need it to be managed through our process.
It's all one.
The more you know. Yeah. We have really old references.
Yes, we do. We're really old dudes.
Yeah.
I'm an older dude than him.
I'm in my prime, damn it. I don't know what you're talking about. We're top of our damn game. Silverbacks, man.
There you go.
There. All right, guys. Call us when you're ready. We'd love to hear from you.
Take it easy.
Bye-bye.